Here are the tests on my 2003 Kohler Serif Ingenium. There is no marked water line in the tank, so I just set it to there on the flush valve. The flush still seems way too weak, even though I believe this is higher than the water level is set on the Wellworth, and that would make sense because this tank is slimmer than the typical Wellworth or Highline tank. So anyway, I will show you guys a flush, and then let's see how it does on tests. I guess that could be 1.6, but it really just seems too short. So I'm going to see how it does on the tests. Of course, I'm adding some water just to get the water level up in the bowl, but if it fails stuff, I'm just going to try holding the handle or maybe raising the water level if it gets too bad. So for the first test, let's see if it can take a washcloth. This toilet is in very good condition, and these are pretty good performers for the time, so I think it will pass perfectly. It did perfectly, as expected. So I'm going to add some water real quick, and now let's try a grocery bag. This test is slightly harder than the washcloth, but I think that it will still pass with no problems. It hesitated there at the end, so it didn't quite do perfectly, but I definitely have seen worse. Now let's see if it can take the washcloth and the grocery bag together. I think it will clog, but it will probably get past the opening. Seems pretty typical for Ingeniums, especially since I was able to predict that perfectly. So the tank is just about full, and I am going to give this a second flush. I'm going to hold the handle and see if it can take it the rest of the way. I just remembered that there is no handle and that I'm flushing this by manually lifting the chain with my fingers. So I'm going to go ahead and plunge this since I don't think it'll go through. That failed, but I've seen worse. So let's try that same test again, but this time I'll hold the handle down. I don't really know how much difference it will make, but it's worth a shot. I've seen some toilets take it when I hold the handle. Well, there you have it. And I didn't even hold the handle because, again, it doesn't have a handle. I need to keep telling myself that. Or what I can do is I can just hold a handle while I'm doing the test so that I can say I held a handle and not sound like an idiot. So anyway, that did really well and I'm impressed. So now let's see if it can take a dish towel. This is the kind of toilet that I'll have to pull up if it gets really badly clogged on this. I don't know if I'll be able to plunge it through, so hopefully if it fails, it won't make it past the opening. Well, it seemed to take that pretty easily. It made it past the opening with no effort at all. So I am going to hold the chain. See, I didn't say handle there. I'm going to hold the chain for another flush and see if I can make it go down. But first I'm going to let it gurgle. That's enough gurgling. That was kind of difficult to plunge, but at least I didn't have to pull it out. So I would say the performance on this toilet is pretty impressive for a 1.6 gallon, especially with the short flush it has, except that I had to hold the flapper up for it to take the washcloth and the grocery bag together. But yeah, I would say this is definitely one of the better 1.6 gallon toilets from the time. This and all of the other variants that used the same bowl. Now that it has completed the clog tests, let's move on to the flush tests and see how it does with a dry bowl. This toilet is pretty water starved as it is, so it is absolutely going to fail. It failed that pretty badly, but it certainly didn't fail at splashing everywhere. That was kind of gross. So yeah, it definitely needs that water in the bowl. Now let's see how it flushes with a clogged siphon jet. Again, the flush is too short, so this will be depressing. Not as depressing as I thought. That was honestly pretty nice. I'm gonna overfill the tank and then try that again and see what we can get out of it. That was awesome. It came so close to a double siphon, but didn't quite make it. Now let's see if it can take dirt. I know the short flush is going to ruin any chance it would have at passing. Let's get that clump off the middle there. And now let's see how it does. So the clearance definitely suffered a little bit. Let's see the rinse. I can see stuff coming down from the side there. It's not perfect. It's not as good as the round Wellworth I tested, that's for sure. But it's definitely usable. Obviously though, I would raise that water level and put in a different flapper. So the flush is not terrible. I've definitely seen worse on factory settings. I've seen much better when they're modified, but I would say it's a usable toilet, definitely. So I'm going to rinse my hand off since I got dirt on me from shifting the mass into the bowl. And now I'm going to give it another flush with the chain held up and see if it can take the rest. That did great. If you enjoy my videos, please subscribe and turn on notifications. It helps my channel a lot and I really appreciate it. Thanks for watching and see you guys in the next video.